Okay, and welcome back, students who are taking the Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications subjects. We're working on the Chapter 16 assigned odd number problems, the word problems from what was assigned in the digital study guide. And we'll just get right to it. There's only 3 problems to do for these word problems in this first one. Let me get to the slide. All right, there we go. And let me get my pen. Right, and it says here, now remember, these are word problems, okay? And 2 quick things. One, if you don't understand something, go ahead and pause the videotape, rewind it, watch it again, and try to figure it out. And if you don't understand something, feel free to telephone or email an instructor, and we'll be more than happy to help you understand. And remember, these are word problems, so when you're looking at word problems, remember, when you're reading them, there's information that's directly related to solving the problem, information that has nothing to do with the problem, and information that has to be manipulated or changed in some way, shape, or form in order to help solve the problem. But you have to obviously understand what the problem is asking. So it says here, William Burris is invested, right, $100,000 in an Australian-based franchise, Rent Your Boxes, purchasing 3 territories in the Washington area. After finding out the company had gone bankrupt, he rallied 10 other franchisees to join him and create a new company, Rent Our Boxes. If Rent Our Boxes had a net income of $38,902 with net sales of $286,585, what was its profit margin on net sales to the nearest 100%? Okay, so the question is asking, you need to understand what the question is asking. It's saying, what is its profit margin on net sales? That's what the question is asking. And when you go back and you read this problem, from the very first word all the way down to here, and everything in between has nothing to do with that. Okay, investing $100,000 has nothing to do with it. The company had gone bankrupt has nothing to do with it. 10 franchisees, creating a new company, none of that has anything to do with the profit margin on net sales. Okay, so now direct information, first of all, what are we talking about here? It's asking, what is the profit margin on is a key word there. We have a profit margin on net sales. Okay, that on means divide by, okay, because that's the ratio we're looking for right there. And profit margin divided by net sales. So my direct information is this $38,902 because that's my profit margin. With, it says, had a net income. Now remember, net income and profit margin are, well, to a certain extent, are the same thing. Okay. With net sales, so I know my net sales are $286,585. Okay. So all you really need to do here is just divide that profit margin or the net income. Okay. These two terms are interchangeable for this within the context of this problem. And when you divide the 38,000 by the 286,000, you get 0.1357433, and it's telling you to round to the nearest 100%. So 1, 2, I get 13.57% because 4 we're rounding down. Okay, we're rounding down. So the profit margin is 13.57%. Relatively easy. It's just a matter of understanding what the question is asking. Okay, and in this case here, profit margin on net sales. Those 5 words are the key to this entire problem, and everything else just falls into place. Okay, next problem, 16-17. Sorry. Okay, it says find the following ratios for Motorola Credit Corp's annual report. Total debt to total assets, return on equity, asset turnover, and profit margin on net sales, round to the nearest, well, 100%. This is the data, okay, and we'll use that in order to figure out all of the different ratios. So my total debt, for A, total debt to total assets. Remember, debt is liabilities, right? So we're looking basically at our total liabilities, two meaning divided by, okay, total assets. So when I look at my information here, my total liabilities are 1768 and my total assets are 2015, I divide one by the other. And let's see here, 1768 divided by 2015, and I get 0.8774, which is 87.74%. So for total debt to total assets, it's 87.74%. Okay, my return on equity is the formula for return on equity. My return, meaning how much did I make, or my net income. The on means divided by, and equity is my total stockholders' equity. Okay, so my net income divided by my equity. When I look down here in my data, okay, I have my net income, earnings is equal to income. So I have 147 over my total equity of 427. So when I divide one by the other, I get 0.34426. That's 34.43% because I'm rounding up due to the 6. So I end up with 34.43%. Next. Asset turnover to the nearest cent. So my asset turnover, right, when you think about it, what are you turning over? Sales, right? So I have my net sales, and since I'm turning those sales over, and it's against the assets, so it's total assets, my asset turnover. I realize that just looking at those words doesn't intuitively give you, it's a little bit more of a struggle in order to think about what the formula should be, okay? But we're talking about my asset turnover. Well, my assets are my total assets, and I'm going to measure how much that turns over, and my turnover is what I'm selling, okay? It's, the sale. So it's my net sales over my total assets. And again, I had said in the theory videos that try to understand the concepts, and like I said, this one is a little bit more of a struggle in order to put together the formula, and it may help to memorize these formulas, and this might be one of those formulas that I would memorize, but try to keep in the back of my mind the thinking that would help me create this formula, so that if I ever draw a blank on the memorization aspect of it, and I can try to think it through, I can still come up with the correct formula. So we have our net sales of 265, and we're going to divide that by our total assets of 2015. So that gives me 265 divided by 2015. That gives me 0.13151, right? But we're rounding to the nearest cent, so it's 0.13, okay? .13. Okay, there was, never mind. Something came into my mind while I was doing the problem, and just as quickly as it came in, it went out, so it must not have been that important. Okay, so the profit margin on net sales, and we're going to round to the nearest hundredth of percent. So profit margin is what? Again, that's the same as net income, okay? On meaning divided by net sales. Okay, so I have my net income divided by my net sales. And that means my net income is $147 right there. And my net sales is $265. My net sales are $265. So I get 147 divided by 265. And that gives me 0.55471. And I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth percent, so I have 55.47, and the one we're rounding down, so it's 55.47%. So 55.47%. Okay, and now yes, I did, as I was writing that, I also recalled what I was thinking about earlier. Okay, notice that these figures are dollars and millions. Okay, and when you're looking at financial statements, sometimes you'll see, it'll say in millions, in parentheses, it will say in millions or in thousands. Okay, when you're looking at a financial statement, all right. Whenever you see that, what they're doing is they're making the numbers a lot easier, meaning, if this is dollars and millions, really this looks like this. 265 million, 147 million, 2 billion, 15 million. Okay. Now, obviously, it makes no sense. I mean, to be writing out all of these zeros. It just creates inefficiency and more levels of inaccuracy. So when you have figures like this, and they'll oftentimes round, this might be, let's say this number is actually 265 million, 13,672. Well, they're just rounding down to 265 million. Okay. And in order to be able to, because to do the ratios, because you just need, close enough is good enough. Okay. You don't need an extreme level of accuracy. So they make the charts, or they provide the figures in millions, because you can cancel out, all of these zeros, and you're only left with working with the base number there. And so therefore, because it doesn't matter whether you write the whole number 265 million, right, over, 147 million, okay, you're still going to come up with a percentage that's, only, so many digits long, okay, and all of these zeros don't make any difference at all. So you can lop off the zeros and just work with the base numbers and still end up with the same percent. Okay, so that was what ran through my mind. One more problem here, and let's just take a quick look at it and see if I can fit it into this video. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Don Williams received a memo requesting that he complete a trend analysis. Okay, I am not going to put it in this video. I'll start another video with just that one problem in it. All right, see you then.